So this is my plan for the Fiero today. What I'm trying to do is get my radio. So this is stock radio, like the original radio, and what I want to do with it is to be able to hook up Bluetooth to it, which I do. I have this little handy dandy, and this thing works amazing. I've had these things in the past and they've just been awful. But this thing, it's under 20 bucks from Amazon. It's a little Bluetooth transmitter that has an FM transmitter in it, and it talks to the radio. So this thing works fantastic. It also has USB in front of it, so if I wanted to use it for charging. So what I have been using is right here, where the regular standard cigarette lighter goes, to be using this. The disadvantage to it is this isn't switched. So when I turn the car on and off, I have to basically manually pull this thing in and out, and it's at an inconvenient location. I don't like it right here where the cigarette lighter, the stock cigarette lighter is. This thing actually has controls on it. So it has pause, play, forward, back. It even has a built-in microphone, and it can answer phone calls. So this little thing ain't terrible. What I want to do is to find a location for this that's not going to look completely terrible. So what I've come up with is, I'm going to put it right about here, and that way it'll be out of the way. It'll be close to the radio. And to be able to do that, what I've got is one of these cigarette lighter auxiliary port brackets, socket with the bracket. So that's going to mount in the same location right about here. There's already some stock screws down here, so I can just use these screws. I'm sure I'll have to re-drill this bracket. So I'm going to mock it up and mount it today. And that way it's going to be here. It's going to look like this. And I'm going to hook it on to switched power as well. So when I turn the key on and off, this will turn on and off, because I don't need it on while I'm not in the vehicle. Also, what I've done is I don't have my antenna hooked up to the car because in the winter I have a car cover on it. So it just unscrews, and I have it in the trunk. And my reception isn't terrible at all with this transmitter. I'm not really listening to radio except for AM. Because I listen to the news once in a while in the morning. So I got this little antenna that's supposed to go somewhere. You can mount it wherever you want, and it's supposed to be powered too. I bought one of these things before for my Corvette, and it came in the mail and it was already broken, so I gave up, and I used a different one inside of that, but I'll try this again. So I'll try to hook this up and see if it's an improvement over leaving the wire plugged in without the antennas stock, or if this is better. So this is, I don't know if this is going to work. So that's the plan for today. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so that's where the holes are that are taken out. They're both 7mm screws. And the way it looks like it's going to line up perfectly is this back screw. It almost looks like it's going to line up perfectly, and this will be recessed a tiny bit. So yeah, I think that'll look really good. So I'm going to pull the sleeve off of this and see where these holes are exactly, but I know this back one's perfect. The middle one, I'm not sure. I might have to drill right in between where those two slots are. So the other thing I have to do is I hope, I'm going to hope this is grounded. I'm going to check this, because if this is grounded, I won't need to have another wire on the outside of this. I'll just need one wire for positive in the middle. So I'm going to check that out next. So do I have power, and what kind of screw holes do I need to make? So basically testing ground here. Let's see. If I touch the steering column, see, look, I got ground there. So if I touch this, I got the screw out. Now there's a metal bracket here. And, oh man, it's open. So that's not grounded. It's just connected to plastic in the dash. So I will have to hook up another ground. The other thing is the bracket is just a tiny bit wider. Let me get underneath here. So the bracket's just a tiny bit is wider. So I can go crazy and shave this. To make it fit better so it lines up in the center, but I'm just going to drill a hole off to the side, another drill hole off to the side of that, and that should work perfect. And yeah, that's what I'll do. So I'll just keep it here, use this hole as my guide, and then I mean, look how close it is. It's pretty darn close to lining up. So I just need to drill that over a little bit, just extend that hole down. Okay. Well, that's what it looks like mocked up. I don't have it tight on there right now. I just got the screw holes in there. Yeah, so the screw holes are in there. It's mocked up. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to look just like that. So I'll have it, you know, handy dandy right next to the radio. It's going to be out of my way. Theoretically, I shouldn't hit that with my knee or anything. So that looks like that's going to be good right there, right? Yeah. Yeah, that should be perfect right there. So now I'm going to hook it up to power. I'm also going to paint this black. So I don't know what color I should use. I guess a semi-gloss black. I'll paint this. I got to be careful to not paint it too much in certain places, or I'll just have to scrape it off later because this needs to be grounded. So I'll probably hook the ground actually up here to the screw, so it won't be hanging off the wire in the back. So next, paint and electrical connections. So here we are under the dash. The radio one is right here. So pull out this. Obviously, that's the radio. So I'm going to tap into the side that has power is not the side that has the little arrow pointing to it. It's the other side. So that's where the power comes in. So you want to make sure you connect your wire there so it's after the fuse. So make sure you do it on the side that has the little arrow. Power comes in on the side without the arrow. So I got a little tappy thing I'm going to put in here. And if it's too big, you can always just strip the wire and shove the wire around the blade. You know, that's the old school way to do it. So this is a little slip-on connector for this thingy. You just slide it over the fuse and try to shove it in there. So let's do that. I don't know, so I got that. It's on there like that. Try to get it up in here. Oh my gosh, it fit really well. So there we go. So now I got my little connector right there, and I'll hook my spade connector onto that to my cigarette lighter, which will be right over here somewhere. Yep, right there. That won't be too bad. And look, I found the interior light where it's supposed to go. So that's a 2-for-1 right there. So if you need to know where that dang interior light bulb is, this is where it is on an 86. I've been looking for that for a while. Okay, let me show you where I found a really good ground. It's just right, you know, here's the bottom of the dash where I'm going to connect. Straight, straight, straight. And then right inside of here, there, oh, let me move this light. So right there, there's a good little spot right there. It's one of those silly 7mm screws, and that whole bracket and everything had a really good ground on it. So I just connected to that. I tested to make sure it had ground on it first, obviously, but there you go. So there's my ground, and I'm going to run the wires in between the dash panel here a little bit, so it'll be behind here and then go straight across from there to there. So that's my next thing, is actually wiring it up. Okay, here it is all connected. So the way it operates is you turn it on.
Normal voltage.
And then it does this thing where
waiting for connection.
It's doing its
Bluetooth connection success.
There we go. So now it's connected. You can change the frequency to any frequency you want. I don't know if this will work. You can control it. And now it'll work with my phone. So, and that is without the antenna connected. So it sounds that clean. Oops. There's a little bit of a delay. So I can't do too much, or the YouTube thing will get me. But there you go. So now it's hooked up. It's painted black. I guess I could have did a better job on that ring. Maybe I may or may not leave it, but there it is. It's installed. So let me play with the radio antenna next and see how that process goes. Well, I had this goofy thing hooked up, and it only works good in open air. Like this. I even tried hooking up this power thing. I don't know, it's probably supposed to boost the signal or something. I don't think it works at all, because it seemed to have the same reception with or without the power connected to it. So I'm just going to leave it hooked up to the stock antenna the way it is. And maybe I will find, maybe if there's such a thing as a short antenna, or I'll just buy a reproduction antenna and cut it really short, because I don't like the long antennas. So it actually works pretty good without the antenna. It is the way it is now. So if I get a little stubby one, well, it's probably perfect and all I need. So I'm just going to button this all back up and call it good. Okay, so here it is all installed. That's the way it's going to look from the side. Not too bad. You know, I might be able to do a better job of concealing those wires. Maybe there's a little spot here. Oh yeah, I could probably do that. Yeah, so I can conceal these wires a little bit better. The other really nice thing about this setup is if you care about this kind of stuff, you don't have to make any modifications to the car at all. So you can remove this and still be 100% stock without doing anything invasive. So I still have my stock radio using these stock screws here. I can pull this out, no issues at all. So this is very functional and non-invasive to the car. So when I turn on the ignition, this is the way it's supposed to work.
Abnormal voltage.
Oh, it said
Waiting for connection.
it said abnormal voltage because I've been sitting here
Bluetooth connection success.
with the dome lights on and stuff, so the voltage is a little bit lower. It's at 11.5 right now. But I just got it tuned with a frequency that doesn't have anything on, and push the button. Next song. Last song. Pause. There you go. And then when you're playing it and you're driving your vehicle and shut it off, it all shuts off and it disconnects from your phone and the song pauses in your phone, so you get back in here and everything will resume and be exactly the way it was. So I got a truly hands-free Bluetooth receiver now, and like I said, this thing's got a little microphone in it and it can do phone calls too. So it's probably going to sound like garbage, but it's hands-free if you care about that kind of stuff. So there it is. I'll put a link to the description for this guy here, the socket, and for this little adapter. Got that from Amazon for, like I said, under 20 bucks.